Hey, so I'm Doug with Cripple Backcountry, and I'm here with Cam Smith, and we're here to talk about gear for the Grand Traverse and maybe a little bit of race prep and strategy. It's a little bit different year in a COVID-19 year, so we are putting together some videos because we're not going to be able to do the big ballroom Grand Lodge gear check that we usually do. So you really have to be dialed and think about this before you come in. So Cam, you've done it a few times. How many times?
4 now.
4 with 2 victories under your belt, right?
2 victories and then some DNFs and some slow ones too. So
yeah,
whole gamut.
And I guess what we're here to talk about is there's a big range from where Cam's at, which hopefully is going for a course record this year, where I'm at, which would be more of like a middle of the pack, like 9 to 10 hour finisher, and then there's the other end, which is people that are taking 14 to even 16 hours. The race is massively different for everybody, from the fastest people, to the people coming at.
To the people Doug just referred to as the heroes before we turn the video on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So a few ideas on training. Well, training's come and gone now, so now all we can do is work with what we got. What I wanted to talk about is you bike race, you run in the summer.
Yeah.
What's the longest distance run?
The Grand Traverse this year was 40-some miles.
And
yeah,
so how would you compare the difference between the Grand Traverse run and bike versus the ski?
Yeah, the ski you have a lot more just objective hazards and logistics to deal with. Like you're in winter weather, you're in the Alpine at night, you have all kinds of gear to deal with, where running and biking, it's more or less like, here's my fitness and my ability to execute the sport. In the Grand Traverse, you have to not only have the fitness and the technical skills, but you have to dial all your hydration and food and skins and warmth and staying dry and all the other factors that come with being out there in the winter.
And I think the Grand Traverse goes right up there as like one of the great adventure races in the country. So the way, Cripple Creek Backcountry does this sport for everybody, from casual backcountry tours to like the fastest racers and like the powder keg that just happened this weekend. And this is a much different animal. So it's different than your summer sports. If you're an extremely strong runner, you're going to have a whole new list of challenges. People never expect their water to freeze literally within the first 20. You're not even out of Crested Butte Mountain Resort. Your water's frozen, maybe for the whole night. So there's a lot of things that not only do you not have to deal with in the summer, but even if you're an experienced like skimo racer like Cam, there's plenty of stuff that can go wrong that wouldn't go wrong in a daylight race. And it's something that really has to be considered. So when we get into talking about the gear, that is the entire spectrum we should be considering. That some people are going to be doing it in 7 hours, some people are going to be doing it in 14 or 15 hours, and you should prepare a little bit different for each. And the gear list is really meant to keep you safe and to bring you home safe, as head judge Ian just told me a minute ago. And I've DNF'd the race for injury. It was like a pretty scary night for me. I hurt my knee at the Breckenridge race a few weeks before. I thought maybe I would take a lot of ibuprofen and it would be fine, and then it locked up and swelled up. And I sat there waiting for rescue, and in the end it seemed like for as long as the rescue was going to take, we could probably get ourselves back to Crested Butte, and that's the way we went. But I will say I cheaped out on everything. I went with the lightest wind jacket, the lightest insulated jacket, and it was like a very cold 4 or 5 hours, and I totally gained a new respect for what's on the list and why it's on the list. Were you able to do a repair at all?
Yeah, I had a similar experience where I felt pretty prepared for the race and had everything well prepped, and then my binding toe piece just cracked 6 hours into the race and split, and I couldn't get into my ski anymore. And I was able to use some of the repair kit items to at least get my foot onto the ski, and extra layers to stay warm while we were out there. But it was 6 hours of racing and 6 hours of limping back to town, so you don't want to skimp on any of the things that are very thoughtfully put into the gear checklist.
It's definitely a long, long night out there. Yeah. So meant to scare you a little bit. It can also be an incredibly pleasant night. A lot of the years recently, we've had immaculate weather, and we've had full moons while we're skating. Yeah, like a night like this. And I remember one year I didn't even put a jacket on top of Star Pass, which is pictured here. Yeah. And it's just incredible the difference between that and another year where I got pretty severe frostbite on my toes. There's a huge spectrum, and we're about 4 weeks out exactly now.
Yeah.
So there's no telling what that race is going to look like. Will we run 8 miles on dry land? Will we skate super fast? All of that is stuff that has to be considered. So. We'll put out a few videos of gear that we recommend and that the judges recommend, and hopefully it'll help get you a little better informed.